The Oprah Winfrey Story, From Pain to Power. A story of resilience, purpose, and belief. A girl from Mississippi. Oprah Winfrey was born on January 29, 1954, in Kosciuszko, Mississippi. She was born into poverty. Her mother, Vernita, was a young single mom, and her father, Vernon, lived in another state. Oprah lived with her grandmother on a farm, wearing dresses made from potato sacks and playing with animals in the fields. Even though her family was poor, her grandmother taught her to read at an early age. Oprah would often read the Bible aloud at church, impressing adults with her strong voice and confident presence. She didn't have toys or many clothes, but she had a powerful imagination and words. A painful childhood. When Oprah was 6, she moved to Milwaukee to live with her mother. Life there was much harder. The neighborhood was dangerous, and the apartment was small and crowded. Worse, Oprah experienced something no child should. She was abused by relatives and family friends. She kept these painful experiences secret for years. She felt ashamed, afraid, and alone. But even in the darkest times, Oprah had one thing that helped her survive: her voice. At school, she was different. She was smart, curious, and always reading. Teachers noticed her. She joined the school's speech team and quickly became known as a gifted speaker. A turning point. At the age of 14, after becoming pregnant and losing the baby, Oprah was sent to live with her father in Nashville, Tennessee. Vernon Winfrey was strict, but he gave Oprah structure and rules. He also made her read a book every week and write reports on them. This helped Oprah focus on education, and it saved her life. For the first time, Oprah began to believe in herself. She started winning speech contests, joined the school drama club, and became an honor student. She realized her voice had power, not just to read, but to inspire. Breaking into media. When Oprah was 17, she won a public speaking contest and earned a scholarship to Tennessee State University. She studied communications and soon got her first job in radio. Her voice was warm and expressive, perfect for broadcasting. At just 19, Oprah became the youngest and first black female news anchor at WLAC-TV in Nashville. But she felt uncomfortable reading news in a cold, serious tone. She wanted to connect with people, not just report facts. When she later moved to Baltimore to co-host a talk show called People Are Talking, everything changed. Oprah was finally allowed to be herself, emotional, curious, funny, real. The audience loved her. The Oprah Winfrey Show. In 1984, Oprah moved to Chicago to host a low-rated morning talk show. Within months, ratings skyrocketed. She brought honesty, compassion, and emotion to television in a way no one had done before. In 1986, The Oprah Winfrey Show was born. It became a national sensation. Millions watched her every day. She talked about everything: love, pain, relationships, weight, trauma, dreams, and healing. Unlike other talk shows, Oprah didn't focus on gossip or scandal. She focused on truth and transformation. She wanted her guests, and her viewers, to grow. And people listened. Owning her power, Oprah became more than a talk show host. She became a businesswoman. In 1988, she created her own production company, Harpo Studios, which is Oprah, spelled backward. This gave her full control over her show and projects. She starred in the movie The Color Purple, earning an Oscar nomination. She published books, started magazines, and launched a television network. She helped discover authors like Maya Angelou and Eckhart Tolle. But more than her media empire, Oprah focused on purpose. She said, "Your job is not just to do, but to be. To be your highest self." Healing and helping. Throughout her life, Oprah shared her pain to help others heal. She talked openly about her childhood abuse, her struggles with weight, and her personal growth. People related to her because she was human and brave enough to be vulnerable. She built schools for girls in South Africa. She gave millions to education, healthcare, and disaster relief. She created Super Soul Sunday to help people live more meaningful lives. She used her influence to raise voices that were unheard. Oprah didn't just want to be famous. She wanted to make a difference. Lessons from Oprah. Oprah's story teaches us many things. Pain is not the end. You can rise from it. Your past does not define your future. Your voice matters. Success comes when you serve others. She says, when you know better, you do better. And she lived this truth every day. A legacy of purpose. In 2013, Oprah received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In 2018, her Golden Globe speech went viral, inspiring millions with the words, "A new day is on the horizon." But Oprah's real legacy isn't awards. It's the millions of lives she touched. People who felt seen, heard, and changed because of her words. She didn't just build a brand, she built belief. In herself, and in others. From pain to power, your story too. Oprah once said, "Turn your wounds into wisdom." You don't have to be on TV to make a difference. You don't need millions of dollars to change lives. What you need is courage, courage to speak, to heal, to help. Oprah showed us that no matter where you start, you can rise. No matter how deep your pain, you can grow. And no matter how alone you feel, your story can inspire someone else. So today, remember, your voice has power. Use it. The power of books and learning. Oprah has always believed in the power of books. She often says that reading saved her life. As a child, books gave her a way to escape from her pain. As an adult, they gave her the wisdom to grow. In 1996, Oprah launched the Oprah's Book Club. It was simple. She chose a book, shared it on her show, and encouraged her viewers to read it with her. But the impact was huge. Books that were almost forgotten became bestsellers overnight. Authors were launched into the spotlight. And millions of people started reading again, many for the first time since school. But this was never just about reading. Oprah saw books as a way to connect, to understand the world, other people, and yourself. She believed that every story holds a lesson, and every lesson can change a life. The challenge of body image. Oprah's struggles with weight were public and deeply personal. For decades, she gained and lost weight again and again. Each time, the media talked about her body more than her work. It hurt. But instead of hiding, Oprah used her struggle to help others. She invited health experts to her show, talked about emotional eating, and created support for people who felt ashamed of their bodies. She taught millions that weight is not just about food, it's about pain, self-worth, and healing. She showed that change starts inside. That real self-love isn't about a number on the scale, but about how you feel about yourself when nobody is watching. Oprah said, "I finally realized that being overweight was not the problem. It was the symptom." Building her empire. As the show grew, so did Oprah's vision. She wanted to do more than inspire, she wanted to create. In 1998, she launched the Oprah magazine, which became one of the most successful women's magazines in the world. She started the Oprah Winfrey Network, in 2011. The beginning was hard, ratings were low, critics were loud, and even Oprah questioned her decision. But she kept going. Slowly, OWN found its voice. Real stories, deep conversations, personal growth. Shows like Super Soul Sunday, Oprah's Masterclass, and Greenleaf reflected her mission, to uplift and empower. Oprah proved that success is not about never failing. It's about what you do when you fail. Do you give up, or do you grow? The spiritual journey. Beyond money and fame, Oprah searched for meaning. Over the years, she studied many spiritual paths. She talked with teachers like Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, and Marianne Williamson. She learned that true power comes from within. Her message became clear. You are not your job, your past, or your pain. You are something greater. You are spirit. You have purpose. She said, the biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. Through her show and her interviews, Oprah helped millions find peace, strength, and faith, not in religion, but in themselves. Speaking out for justice. Oprah has never been afraid to speak the truth. She used her platform to talk about racism, gender inequality, and injustice. She gave a voice to the voiceless and stood with survivors. When the Me Too movement exploded in 2017, Oprah delivered a powerful speech at the Golden Globes. She spoke of a new day for women, for truth, and for justice. Her words were not just poetic, they were prophetic. They reminded people that silence is no longer an option, and that each voice matters. Oprah has always believed in the power of truth. And she used her own story, not to gain sympathy, but to spark change. Oprah's life philosophy. Oprah lives by a few core beliefs. They're simple, but powerful. 1. Live with intention. Know why you do what you do. 2. Gratitude changes everything. Be thankful, even for small things. 3. You become what you believe. Your thoughts shape your life. 4. Your past is a lesson, not a life sentence. 5. Serve others. Your life becomes bigger when it's not just about you. These lessons are in everything Oprah does. In every book she recommends, every show she creates, and every word she speaks. She isn't trying to be perfect. She's trying to be real. And that's what makes her unforgettable. Interviews that changed the world. Over the years, Oprah interviewed thousands of people, from presidents to prisoners, from celebrities to everyday heroes. She talked with Barack Obama, Nelson Mandela, Beyoncé, Michael Jackson, and countless others. But what made her interviews special wasn't the fame, it was the depth. Oprah had a gift for making people open up. Her questions were gentle but powerful. She didn't just ask about what people did. She asked why they did it, how it felt, and what it taught them. Some of her interviews became global moments, like Meghan and Harry's royal conversation or Lance Armstrong's confession. But more than moments, they were mirrors, showing us the pain, beauty, and truth in ourselves. Giving back, quietly and boldly. Oprah has given away millions, but she rarely talks about it. For her, giving is not for show. It's for service. She built the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for girls in South Africa to give young girls a chance to rise. She supports scholarships, mental health, disaster relief, and more. But it's not just the money, it's the message. Oprah believes that with success comes responsibility. And that lifting others is the highest form of success. She said, to move forward, you have to give back. What we can learn from Oprah. Oprah's story is not just about success, it's about transformation. From a scared girl in Mississippi to a global leader, her life proves one thing: you can rewrite your story. Here are a few takeaways. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start with what you have. Turn your pain into purpose. Don't be afraid to be different, that's your gift. Use your voice, even when it shakes. Believe in something bigger than yourself. Your story matters. Your life matters. You don't have to be Oprah to make a difference. But you can be inspired by her to make your own mark. The journey continues. Today, Oprah is more than a name. She's a movement, a mentor, and a message. She's semi-retired, but her voice is still strong. She writes, speaks, teaches, and leads in new ways. She reminds us that the journey never really ends, it just changes form. And every day, someone watches an old clip, reads a quote, or hears her words, and something inside them wakes up. That's the real magic. Not the fame, not the money, but the impact. Oprah Winfrey took her pain, her voice, and her heart, and built something eternal. Final chapter. Your turn. If there's one thing Oprah would say to you right now, it's this: you are enough. Not when you're richer, thinner, smarter, or more successful, now. Your past is not your prison. Your pain is not your end. You have the power to rise, speak, give, and live with purpose. So, what will you do with your story? Start small. Stay true. Speak up. Help others. And never forget, like Oprah, you have a light inside you. Let it shine. When Oprah met Maya, one of the most powerful relationships in Oprah's life was with poet and author Maya Angelou. Oprah first read Maya's book I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings when she was a young girl. It changed her. Years later, as an adult and a famous talk show host, Oprah met Maya in person. Their bond grew deep and real. Oprah often said that Maya was her mentor, mother figure, and spiritual guide. Maya taught Oprah that words are things, that they hold power and must be used with care. She reminded Oprah to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. Through Maya, Oprah learned to forgive herself and others. She learned the grace of stillness, the power of poetry, and the dignity of silence. Their friendship lasted decades. When Maya died in 2014, Oprah said she lost one of the greatest lights in her life, but also knew that Maya's spirit would live forever in her words and teachings. Moments that changed millions. Over 25 years of The Oprah Winfrey Show, there were many unforgettable moments. There was the time she gave every member of her audience a car. Yes, you get a car. You get a car. Everyone gets a car. Became a pop culture moment. But more than the car, it was about joy and generosity. There was the time she interviewed Toni Morrison about race and literature. Or when she brought out Nelson Mandela and made millions feel hope and courage. One of the most emotional moments was when a woman forgave her son's killer live on stage. The audience was silent. Oprah was in tears. It showed that even the deepest wounds could be transformed by love. These moments weren't about ratings. They were about truth, humanity, and healing. Oprah didn't just host a talk show, she held space for real change. The Oprah Effect. There's something called the Oprah Effect. It's real. When Oprah believes in something, whether a book, product, idea, or person, the world pays attention. She helped unknown authors become global stars. She turned small businesses into major brands. She made therapy, self-help, and spiritual growth part of everyday conversation. Millions of people say, "I first heard about that on Oprah." But the deeper Oprah effect isn't about fame or money. It's about awakening. She helped people believe in their own possibility. She said, "I don't want anyone to leave my presence without feeling stronger, better, and more loved." And she lived that every day. Behind the scenes, the real Oprah. Most people only saw Oprah on stage or screen. But behind the scenes, she worked harder than almost anyone. She would arrive early, read every detail, led meetings, mentor staff, and often stay late to review footage. She was a perfectionist, not because she wanted praise, but because she respected the audience. She treated her team with care and demanded their best. And she always asked, "What is the intention behind this segment?" If it didn't serve, heal, or teach, it didn't go on air. Even when tired, even when under pressure, Oprah stayed grounded. She meditated. She journaled. She called Maya Angelou. She walked her dogs. She laughed. She cried. The real Oprah was disciplined, emotional, introspective, and always evolving. Children, and the girls who became her daughters. Oprah made a bold decision in her life. She chose not to have children. She once said, "If I had kids, my kids would hate me. They would have ended up on the cover of a tabloid saying, 'Neglected by Mom.'" Instead, she poured her maternal energy into mentorship and education. In 2007, she opened the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for girls in South Africa. These girls, many from deep poverty, became her daughters. She visited often. She cried with them, taught them, and celebrated their graduations. Many went on to top universities around the world. To Oprah, success is not what you achieve, it's what you leave behind. These girls are part of her legacy. The rise of OWN, a new chapter. Launching OWN, Oprah Winfrey Network, was not easy. Oprah had retired from her talk show in 2011 and took a huge risk. The new network was slow to grow. Critics doubted her, but she stayed true to her vision. She pivoted. She learned. She brought in partners and creators who shared her purpose. Soon, OWN became a space for real stories. Shows like Iyanla, Fix My Life, Queen Sugar, and Greenleaf resonated with audiences who were hungry for meaning, not just entertainment. OWN wasn't about being the biggest, it was about being the most authentic. And it worked. Oprah and Stedman, A Quiet Love. For over 35 years, Oprah has been with Stedman Graham, a quiet, steady presence in her life. They are not married, and Oprah has spoken openly about why. She said that marriage would have changed their relationship. She wanted freedom, and so did he. Their connection is built on trust, respect, and space. Stedman has been Oprah's biggest supporter, always behind the scenes, never needing the spotlight. Their love is private, but real. It shows us that there's no one right way to love. And that true partnership doesn't need approval, it needs understanding. Oprah's greatest regrets. Even Oprah has regrets. She has said that for a long time, she didn't believe she was truly lovable. That she overworked to prove her worth. That she once stayed silent when she should have spoken up. She also regrets not slowing down earlier, to breathe, to travel, to just be. But every regret became a lesson. She says, everything that's ever happened to you is a lesson. And if you don't learn it, it will come again. Oprah learned. And she teaches by example. Messages to the next generation. To young people, Oprah has one message: you are powerful. She encourages them to put down their phones, look inward, ask big questions, and define success for themselves. She says that fame is not the goal. Purpose is. And that you should follow your curiosity, not someone else's expectations. She tells them to build character, not just a brand. To serve, not just consume. And to listen more than they talk. The ending is the beginning. Oprah's journey is far from over. But even now, she is thinking about legacy. Not statues or headlines, but hearts. She hopes people say, she made me feel seen. She helped me heal. She gave me hope. Because that's what Oprah Winfrey is really about. Not herself, but others. And now, it's your turn. What story will you write? What pain will you transform? What light will you share? Oprah's daily routine, how she stays grounded. Many people wonder, how does Oprah stay so calm, strong, and focused? The answer is in her daily routine. Every morning, Oprah wakes up early. She takes a moment to be grateful. Before reaching for her phone, she breathes deeply and gives thanks for life itself. Then, she feeds her dogs and goes outside. She walks through her garden, feeling the earth under her feet. This connection with nature keeps her grounded. Next comes meditation. Oprah practices 20 minutes of quiet stillness. Sometimes she listens to soft music. Sometimes she just focuses on her breath. This gives her peace before the noise of the day begins. She journals her thoughts, reads something inspiring, then has a healthy breakfast, always with intention. She says, how you start your day is how you live your life. Oprah's routine isn't about being perfect. It's about choosing peace again and again. When fear almost won, there were moments when even Oprah doubted herself. One time, in her early 20s, she was fired from her job as a news anchor in Baltimore. They told her she was unfit for television. She cried for days. She believed them, for a moment. But something inside her refused to give up. That something was her voice. It whispered, "You are meant for more." She took a different role, co-hosting a local talk show. She was scared. She felt like she had failed. But she showed up, and that show changed her life. Sometimes, the thing that feels like failure is actually a door to your true path. The audience that saved her. Oprah often says that her audience saved her as much as she helped them. During difficult seasons, when she battled depression, when critics attacked her, when life felt heavy, she looked into the eyes of the people who watched her every day. Mothers, teachers, students, dreamers, survivors. They trusted her. They cried with her. They grew with her. And that connection gave her strength. She says, "My greatest joy came not from the applause, but from the connection." Oprah didn't just talk to people. She talked with them. That's what made her a legend. The role of faith. Oprah's faith is deep, but not tied to any one religion. She believes in God, spirit, energy, and purpose. She prays daily, not to ask for things, but to listen. She believes the universe is always speaking, you just have to be quiet enough to hear. She reads scriptures from different traditions, Bible, Bhagavad Gita, teachings of Buddha. For her, truth is everywhere. Faith gave her peace when she had none. It gave her strength when she felt small. And it gave her purpose when she felt lost. She believes, you are co-creating your life with a higher power. Why saying no is powerful. As Oprah became more famous, people asked her for everything: money, time, interviews, support. At first, she said yes to too much. She wanted to please people. She felt guilty saying no. But she learned that saying no is not selfish. It's wise. She said, no is a complete sentence. She realized she couldn't pour from an empty cup. To serve others, she had to protect her own energy first. That's a lesson for all of us: protect your peace. Your time is sacred. Oprah's love for animals. Few people know this, but Oprah is a deep lover of animals, especially dogs. She has had several beloved pets over the years, and each one was like family to her. She says animals love purely. They don't judge. They comfort you without words. When one of her dogs passed away, Oprah held a private ceremony. She lit candles, said prayers, and honored the love they had shared. She believes animals teach us presence and unconditional love. And in many ways, they remind us of what matters most. The pain of being misunderstood. As Oprah grew more famous, not everyone liked her. Some accused her of being too emotional, too rich, or even too spiritual. It hurt, especially when people judged her without knowing her heart. But Oprah learned that being misunderstood is part of growth. She said, "You are not what they call you. You are what you answer to." She chose to answer to truth, to kindness, to purpose. If you try to please everyone, you will lose yourself. Oprah chose to be herself, fully. Oprah's favorite guests. Out of thousands of guests, some stayed in Oprah's heart forever. There was the woman who survived genocide and now helps others heal. The man who forgave his abuser. The child who raised her siblings alone and still smiled every day. Oprah says these people are her real heroes, not celebrities, but ordinary people doing extraordinary things. She learned from them, and so did the world. When Oprah failed publicly, in 2013, Oprah launched a big interview series. The promotion was huge. The expectations were sky high. But the ratings were poor. Critics laughed. Some called her out of touch. It hurt. But instead of quitting, Oprah listened. She learned. She adjusted. She says, every failure brings you closer to the truth. That project later evolved into Super Soul Conversations, which became a global hit. What felt like failure became foundation. Oprah's legacy, the long view. Oprah doesn't care about statues or streets named after her. She cares about impact. She wants her legacy to be people who changed their lives because they heard something, saw something, felt something she shared. She said, "I want to be a mountain, not a monument." That means something that lifts others, not something that just sits there. Her goal was never to be worshipped. It was to awaken others. The price of fame. Fame gave Oprah wealth, power, and reach. But it also took things from her. She could no longer walk into a store without being recognized. She couldn't enjoy a quiet dinner without someone asking for a photo. Even her private moments became public news. There were headlines about her weight, her relationships, her opinions, many of them unfair or untrue. At one point, she felt trapped by her own success. She said, "The more people know your name, the more they think they know your soul." To protect herself, she created boundaries. She kept a small circle of trusted friends. She built homes far from the spotlight. And she learned to listen to her inner voice more than the noise outside. Fighting racism, one conversation at a time. Oprah never forgot where she came from. She grew up in the segregated South. She was called names, denied opportunities, and made to feel less than. As she rose to power, she made a promise: she would use her voice for justice. Oprah didn't scream or shout. She invited people to the table. She hosted conversations about race, honest, raw, and necessary. She interviewed victims of hate crimes. She invited police officers, Black mothers, teachers, students. She asked, "How do we move forward together?" Her strength was not in anger, but in clarity. She made people listen. She helped them feel. And slowly, she helped change the conversation. The art of listening. One of Oprah's greatest gifts is her ability to listen, not just with her ears, but with her heart. During interviews, she often sat silently while guests cried or paused. She didn't rush to fill the space. She allowed truth to rise. She says, "Every person just wants to be heard. Fully, deeply, without judgment." In a world full of noise, Oprah offered presence. And in that presence, healing began. Listening, she teaches, is not passive. It's sacred. The election and the voice. In 2008, Oprah took a big risk. She publicly supported Barack Obama for president. It was the first time she ever endorsed a political candidate. She knew it might cost her fans. She knew critics would attack her. But she didn't care. She believed in Obama, not just his politics, but his character. She said, "I saw myself in him. And I saw what's possible." Her support helped energize young voters and people of color. It was one of the most powerful celebrity endorsements in American history. Oprah didn't want to be a politician. But she used her platform to inspire civic action and hope, empowering women around the world. Oprah has always believed in the power of women. She saw how girls were often silenced, underestimated, or abused, just like she once was. And she made it her mission to lift them up. Through scholarships, her leadership academy, her shows, and her speeches, Oprah empowered women to speak, rise, and lead. She featured female leaders, authors, scientists, entrepreneurs. She told the world, "The future is female, and the future is now." At conferences, she told young girls, "You have everything you need inside you. Trust it. Use it." Millions believed her, and changed their lives. What Oprah reads, watches, and learns. Oprah is a lifelong student. She reads every day, books on spirituality, psychology, science, and history. She watches documentaries. She talks to thought leaders and teachers. She says, "I am curious. And curiosity keeps me young." Some of her favorite books include The Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav. A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. These books shaped her thinking, and through her book club, they shaped millions of others. Oprah reminds us that you are always growing, or you're shrinking. Never stand still. When Oprah almost gave up. Few people know this, but in the early years of OWN, Oprah felt like a failure. The network was struggling. Viewers were leaving. She was losing money, millions. She cried. She doubted. She asked herself, did I make a mistake? But instead of quitting, she paused. She listened. She prayed. And she tried again. She brought in new leadership. She changed the schedule. She refocused on her purpose. Slowly, OWN turned around. It became a home for powerful storytelling. It took years, but it was worth it. Oprah says, when you're going through hell, keep going. Saying goodbye to the show. In 2011, after 25 years, Oprah ended The Oprah Winfrey Show. It was emotional. Her final episode was not a party. It was a love letter. A thank you. A moment of reflection. She stood on stage, alone, and shared her heart. She said, this show has been the greatest gift of my life. And now, it's time for a new chapter. She walked off, not into retirement, but into expansion. Because Oprah doesn't stop. She evolves. The meaning of true success. For Oprah, success is not about fame, money, or awards. It's about fulfillment. She defines success as living with purpose, serving others, feeling peace, growing every day. She says, the biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. And that dream should not be borrowed. It should be yours. Your story is just beginning. You don't have to be Oprah to live with purpose. You just have to be brave, honest, open, willing to grow. Maybe you've been hurt. Maybe you've failed. Maybe you're lost. Good. That's where transformation begins. You have a voice. Use it. You have pain. Heal it. You have love. Share it. And when you doubt yourself, remember this. So did Oprah. And she turned that doubt into power. So can you. Oprah at 60, a new kind of power. Turning 60 was not a crisis for Oprah, it was a celebration. For her, this milestone was not about age. It was about arrival. She said, I have finally become the woman I always dreamed of. At 60, she didn't need to prove anything. She stopped chasing perfection. She stopped apologizing for her ambition, her voice, or her silence. She began to live on her own terms. She walked more, read more, reflected more. She became more present in her relationships, more intentional with her work, and more committed to helping others rise. Aging, she says, is a privilege. Every wrinkle, every scar, every gray hair, I earned it. The power of saying, I don't know. In a world where everyone tries to act like they have it all figured out, Oprah did something rare. She admitted when she didn't know something. She said, the most powerful words you can say sometimes are, I don't know. Not knowing doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're open. It means you're still learning. Oprah surrounded herself with people smarter than her, experts, visionaries, teachers, and listened with humility. She teaches us that wisdom is not about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions, and being brave enough to sit in the silence while the truth reveals itself. The magic of stillness. In her earlier years, Oprah's life was fast. Flights, meetings, shows, interviews, deadlines. But in her later years, she discovered a new kind of success, stillness. Every day, she takes time to sit by herself in quiet. No phone, no noise, just presence. She says that's where clarity is born. You can't hear your inner voice when the world is too loud. This stillness helps her stay grounded, even when the world pulls in many directions. And she encourages others. Take 5 minutes a day to just be with yourself. You'll be amazed at what shows up. Oprah and the gift of forgiveness. Forgiveness wasn't easy for Oprah. For years, she held deep pain toward the people who abused her as a child. But over time, she realized that holding on to that anger was like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. She chose to forgive, not to excuse what happened, but to free herself from it. Forgiveness, for Oprah, became a tool for healing, a way to reclaim her own power. She says, forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could have been different. A quiet Christmas. Unlike many celebrities who throw big holiday parties, Oprah prefers something simple, a quiet Christmas at home. She lights candles. She plays soulful music. She cooks with friends. She gives thoughtful, personal gifts. She says her favorite gifts are not diamonds or designer clothes, but books, letters, and handmade items with love. Christmas, for Oprah, is not about performance. It's about connection. And every year, she sends gratitude into the universe for the life she never thought she'd have. What Oprah learned from her dogs. Yes, her dogs. Oprah often says that her pets have been some of her greatest teachers. They taught her about unconditional love, about presence, about joy. When she walks them, she disconnects from work and connects to life. She watches them chase butterflies or nap in the sun, and remembers how simple happiness can be. She even says, dogs live in the now. And that's where the power is. Oprah believes animals are spiritual beings. They come into our lives to teach us how to love better. Her most personal loss. In 2003, Oprah experienced a deep personal loss. Her beloved dog Sophie passed away. Sophie had been with her through some of the hardest and best years. Oprah grieved deeply. She canceled meetings. She stayed home. She cried for days. Some didn't understand. It was just a dog, they said. But for Oprah, it was family. She says, grief is love with no place to go. And she gave herself permission to feel it fully. That experience reminded her, love is never wasted, even when it ends in loss. Why she still believes in television. Even in the age of the internet, Oprah believes in the power of television, when it's used with purpose. She says, television gave me my voice. But it also gave people a mirror to see themselves. She believes that good storytelling can heal. It can break down prejudice. It can change how people think and feel. That's why she still produces shows, movies, and documentaries, always asking, does this serve something greater than entertainment? She believes that screens can teach, not just distract. Lessons from her fans. Over the years, Oprah has met thousands of fans, people who tell her how her words, her show, her story changed their lives. A woman who left an abusive marriage. A young man who went to college after watching her. A girl who found the courage to speak her truth. These stories became Oprah's fuel. She says, I may never win an Oscar. But when a mother tells me her child started reading because of me, that's my award. Her greatest lessons, she says, didn't come from books or gurus, but from the hearts of everyday people. Her life after television. Many thought Oprah would disappear after ending her Daily Show in 2011. But she didn't. She simply moved to new forms of storytelling, books, podcasts, online courses, live events, and the Oprah Daily platform. She continues to interview thought leaders, build schools, support female entrepreneurs, and inspire millions. She's not on screen every day, but her influence is everywhere. Because true power, she says, is not about visibility. It's about impact. Why she never married. Oprah has been with Stedman Graham for decades, but they never married. And that was a choice. She says, had we married, we wouldn't still be together. Marriage, for her, came with expectations. Roles, rules, boxes. And she didn't want that. She wanted freedom. So did Stedman. Their love, she says, is based on respect and space. They are partners, not possessions. She teaches us that love doesn't need to follow tradition. It just needs to be real. A message to survivors. To anyone who has been abused, abandoned, silenced, or shamed, Oprah says this: you are not broken. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are more than your pain. She says, I am living proof that you can rise from the ashes. Her message is not one of pity, but of power. You can heal. You can grow. You can help others. Your wounds are not your identity. They are the beginning of your strength. What she wants for the world. When asked what she wants most for the world, Oprah answers simply, consciousness. She dreams of a world where people are more awake, more aware of their thoughts, their impact, and their responsibility. She wants people to listen more, to judge less, to forgive faster, to give deeper. She believes that we are all connected. That what you do to others, you do to yourself. She hopes her legacy is not fame, but a shift in how people live, love, and lead. What legacy really means. Legacy is not about money. Not about buildings with your name on them. Not about followers or headlines. Legacy, Oprah says, is the lives you touch. If someone smiles because of you, if someone dares to believe because of your words, if someone heals because of your presence, that is legacy. And that is what she has built. Every story she told, every hand she held, every voice she lifted, brick by brick, she built something eternal. You are the author now. This is not just Oprah's story. It's a reminder that your story matters, too. You may not have a talk show, but you have a voice. You may not be rich, but you have gifts. You may not be famous, but you have influence on your family, your friends, your community. So now, ask yourself, what will you create? What will you heal? What will you give? What will you stand for? The pen is in your hands. Write boldly, live fully, and never forget, you have the power, too. Life lessons from her girls. Oprah calls them her daughters, the girls who attend her Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa. Many of these young women came from extreme poverty, abuse, and communities filled with pain. But when Oprah looked into their eyes, she saw something more powerful than pain, potential. She taught them not just math or science, but confidence, self-worth, and leadership. She brought speakers like Michelle Obama, Maya Angelou, and Nelson Mandela to inspire them. Now, many of those girls are doctors, lawyers, activists, and businesswomen. One became South Africa's first female aerospace engineer from her village. Oprah says, I gave them a school, but they gave me a future. The power of naming. In her academy, Oprah insisted that each girl be called by her full name. No nicknames, no shortcuts. Why? Because identity matters. She believes that calling someone by their full name honors who they are. It tells them, I see you. I respect you. She also named every classroom after a powerful woman, from Rosa Parks to Eleanor Roosevelt. Because when you walk into a space named after greatness, you begin to see your own greatness, too. Her philosophy on death. Oprah is not afraid of death. She says, death is not the end. It's a transition. She believes we are all energy, and energy never dies, it transforms. Losing her mother was painful. But instead of focusing on loss, Oprah celebrated the life that was lived. She held a private ceremony with music, poetry, and silence. She encourages people not to fear death, but to live in such a way that death becomes a return home, not a tragedy. Leave full, she says. Empty nothing behind. Use every gift you were given. Why she embraces aging. In a world obsessed with youth, Oprah celebrates aging. She laughs at her gray hairs. She honors her body, even when it changes. She sees every year not as a curse, but a crown. Getting older is the privilege of those who lived well, she says. She encourages women to stop chasing beauty and start living boldly. To stop hiding behind filters and start standing in truth. Wrinkles are not flaws, they are evidence of life. Oprah's favorite quotes, and what they mean. Let's look at some of Oprah's most powerful quotes, and why they matter. You become what you believe. This means your thoughts shape your reality. If you believe you are small, you will act small. If you believe you are worthy, the world will treat you that way. Turn your wounds into wisdom. Your pain is not useless. It is full of lessons. Don't run from it, learn from it. When you know better, you do better. Don't punish yourself for the past. Grow from it. Let knowledge become your freedom. Her global influence. Oprah's influence is not just American, it's global. Her shows were watched in over 150 countries. Her books were translated into dozens of languages. Her leadership model is studied in universities around the world. In India, women's empowerment programs were inspired by her messages. In Brazil, young people formed reading circles because of her book club. In South Africa, her academy gave birth to a new generation of leaders. She didn't travel the world just to be seen. She traveled to see others, to listen, learn, and lift. Behind the curtain, her quiet generosity. There are stories about Oprah giving millions to schools, hospitals, or disaster relief. But the stories she never told are the ones that reveal the most. Paying for a stranger's college education. Rebuilding a town library in secret. Sending groceries to a single mom who wrote her a letter. She doesn't give for applause. She gives because she remembers. She remembers being hungry, scared, and invisible. Now that she has the power to help, she helps, quietly and with heart. How she handles criticism. Being Oprah means being praised, but also being judged. She's been accused of being too rich, too political, too soft, too spiritual. Some said she sold out, others said she lost touch. But Oprah listens with wisdom. If the criticism is fair, she reflects. If it's noise, she releases it. She says, don't let other people's opinions become your prison. Your worth is not decided by strangers. It's decided by your soul. Her relationship with time. Oprah treats time like a treasure. She says, you can get more money. You can't get more time. That's why she protects her mornings. That's why she says no to most meetings. That's why she chooses presence over productivity. She encourages others to stop rushing and start living. Every moment is a message. Every second, sacred. Oprah's vision for the future. What does she hope the world will become? She dreams of a world where girls are safe. Truth is valued. Love is louder than hate. People are more conscious. And success is measured not by status, but by service. She believes we are moving toward that world, but only if each of us chooses to be part of the change. She says, don't just wish for a better world. Build it. What she would say to her younger self. If Oprah could talk to the 9-year-old girl in Mississippi, she would whisper, hold on. You're going to make it. Your voice matters. Your pain has a purpose. You are loved. And one day, you will help millions. And that little girl would probably smile, because deep down, she always believed she was meant for something more. Just like you. Your turn to rise. This story is not just about Oprah. It's about you. You, who have felt broken. You, who have a dream. You, who want to help, to grow, to heal, to shine. You are not too late. You are not too young. You are not too far behind. Your story is still being written. So today, make a choice, to speak with purpose, to walk in truth, to give with joy, to rise from pain, to lead with love, because if Oprah could do it, so can you. And the world is waiting for your light. Thank you for listening to The Oprah Winfrey Story, From Pain to Power. Subscribe to learn smarter for powerful audiobooks every week. Leave a comment, share with a friend, and remember, you have the power.